welcome to another episode of Digital for Everyone. As always, I'm your host, Robert D. Gant, and here to introduce you guys to, we're very excited actually to have this guest on our show with us. His name is Duane Budasing. He is the founder of Trini Tuna. Welcome, Trini Tuna, quarter portion. Guys, Digital for Everyone is a weekly live stream that tries to demystify the digital world for everyone. That's kind of why I built it. And we have Duane, who's going to join us from the Trini Tuna account. Welcome to Brian Olton, Mikkel, quarter portion, mixed up with PB while we wait for Trini Tuna to join us. Duane, how are you, my friend?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem. So you caught me just in the middle of my intro spiel. So I was telling everybody about what Digital for Everyone is. It's a weekly live stream that focuses on, demystifying the digital world, item by item, because there's so many things, right? There's ads, there's platforms, there's forums, which what we're going to talk about tonight. So, we try to take it one by one, and, I'm really glad we have you here. It took a little while. It took a little while for us to get you on, but I think, this is Trini Tuna's 20th anniversary, right?
Yeah, actually, this year, due to COVID, we haven't really done anything, but we didn't think it was fitting to be celebrating during these trying times for everyone. So definitely next year, we'll be doing something. But yeah, over the past 20 years, we started in 2000 and still going.
I am losing you a little bit, but while that settles down, guys, so to introduce Duane he describes himself as a digital evangelist. He says even his coffee cup has Wi-Fi, so we're going to get into that in a little bit because I want to see how a coffee cup has Wi-Fi. He believes that his...
Is it really connected to it?
Oh yeah?
Well, it's not Wi-Fi. It's actually Bluetooth, but it connects to the phone. You set the temperature. It's called an Ember cup.
Fancy.
See, I don't know. Yeah. I think you can see it there.
Ember, EMBER. Got it. Yeah.
Yep.
So the bio you gave me, you said 20 years ago while working as a creative director at Evolve New Media.
Yeah.
You started working on Trini Tuna, and eventually you moved it full time in 2004, and it's become TNT's largest automotive website, and I think it's the largest automotive website in the Caribbean.
More than likely, yeah.
Yeah. And it also plays host to what we're really focusing on today, is the largest and longest running forum in the Caribbean. And I thought that was super interesting because you don't see a lot of new forums starting up in the recent years. But the ones that have existed before kind of, they're still going strong.
Well,
yeah. So I think, I feel like when I thought about forums, I thought, well, maybe social media killed the forum star, because social media now you can get every forum in one kind of thing. So I would like to get into kind of like, so I guess tell me about the origins of Trini Tuna first, and then tell us why do you think this forum has lasted so long?
Okay, so like I had mentioned before, I was developing websites
right.
At Evolve New Media, at Rosettes before, and CIM, or basically the same team company, kind of changed names. And one of the last websites I worked on around 2004 was Port Authority. And we did websites for a number of corporate clients, Republic Bank, TSTT, etc. And we also did some multimedia stuff, interactive CD-ROMs, things like that. And I always liked cars. And I decided, let me try a website about cars. It really started with some of the people at the office. My cousin, who is one of the directors in Trini Tuna, Darren Dore, he's the webmaster for UE's website, all campuses, and he's at CITS there. He also has CyberSafe TT, So you can check out cybersafeTT.com. It's a great
Sure.
resource, particularly for parents and people working and working from home right now. It's a great resource for that. So yeah, it started off with just a little blog, talking about what was going on in the automotive world in Trinidad. Trinis love the cars. We have more cars on the road than people eligible to drive. And
so I heard.
yeah. I mean, you see it in the traffic every day, right?
Yeah.
Cars are definitely a topic that Trinis, besides the party, the lime, fet, etc., cars are something that, a lot of Trinis are into. Whether they do it as a hobby or they just love the car.
Right. Yeah.
So we started talking about those things. That started in 2000, and we started a forum. It was a simple bulletin board then. Anybody could register, log in, post, and it got fairly popular. Richard Williams had joined the team at that point in time. He was doing some hosting for us, and he suggested, let's look at PHPVB. It's a free platform then. And we started the forum in its current form that you see right now. Now, while a lot of it was car talk, there was a section called, we realized there was a lot of bacchanal going on the forums, basically old talk. This one throwing talk for that one, we racing, cars slow, things like that. And then people want to get little tips, tricks, and they want to post their stuff for sale. So we started to create sub forums for classifieds. There's the old talk that's still very, very active, right?
I went on it just today. I went on it, and it's
See that you have about 20 comments there.
all right, nice.
Yeah,
good.
People were kind of shining me up about what to talk about tonight. Some of them wanted some mention, so I'll do that too. But
all right.
Yeah, we kind of branched off, and over the years we've been looking at what users want to use it for. Yes, we're an automotive site, but at the end of the day, as I always say, our users they're car guys, they're car girls, but they don't drink oil and eat gas. They're people.
Yeah.
So, they talk about all sorts of stuff, and we encourage it. We don't want to keep it as automotive only. These past 2 days, it's all US elections. Over the past few months, there was a lot of talk about COVID. During the talk, I'll flip the camera and show you some of the stuff that's happening on the forum. So some of the guests could see it too. And so it's evolved over the years technically it is a kind of form of social media in that, people use the digital media to connect with each other. There are a few advantages and disadvantages, of course. We could probably get into that quickly. But going back to the history, we've always seen motorsport as a leader for what we do. It's an exciting point in the automotive industry. So when people come to our homepage, they mostly see motorsport. It's the same way, I guess, Shell would use Ferrari or Red Bull would use X Games. It brings that excitement to the topic. But we also get into things like, new car test drives, and people use the site to get help. We cover stories. We do things like, GPS for your car, all of those kind of topics in our blog.
So just a question there. You mentioned blog. So Trinituner produces content as well.
Yeah,
they're not
we
just
do.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So you cover tons of stuff. I'm sure 99% of the content is user generated, right? Yes.
So that was one of the things that I was pushing for early on. Looking at the advent of things like YouTube, a lot of things that happen on many websites Reddit, etc., a lot of that is user-generated content, and we see it now today in things like Facebook, Instagram. They
Of
don't
course,
really
yeah.
generate their own content. It's
TikTok,
user-generated content, TikTok,
yeah.
Snapchat, etc. So we
So,
see real value in that, and that's one of the key reasons I had actually said was one of the major pros of a forum and
right.
a company or any publication adding a forum to their website.
Okay, so you would recommend anybody to start a forum?
Yeah, I mean, so it depends on what it is you are looking to achieve. But
Okay.
let's say you're a business, you have a website for your product. I mean, a lot of major websites, Apple, Amazon, etc., they have forums that
Yeah.
users and the user community would use to get help.
Right.
Oftentimes, like on a lot of Apple help forums or Android help forums, there is no real requirement for people that work at the company to be there, but there are people who are very versed in the way things work that can help other users. So it's users helping users, whether
Okay.
they eventually become moderators or they become power users, they can still help the community. So they would be able to answer a lot of the questions that would come in.
Okay.
So we always saw it as um, uh, an important way of, one, driving traffic, and two, offering the community a method of communication with us and each other.
So
It's been invaluable for that.
so let me ask you. So I think, all right, with the advent of Facebook and groups and stuff like that, it has definitely pulled. I mentioned it earlier. It's definitely pulled traffic away from forum sites to groups, interest groups, right? Because I'm sure, like, I think I just recently joined Aqua Owners of Trinidad and Tobago. Now they're probably all Trinituno members as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so my question really is, with all of that going, let's say, against you, why do you think, even in 2020, even in the midst of COVID, your site has still not only maintained but grown its user base and activity and all that?
Right. So forums, while they can be seen, I guess, as a form of social media, it's inherently different in that one, forums can be anonymous.
Okay.
You can log in with any name you like, whereas most forms of social media, you log in as yourself, and that is the profile you carry through. So that has pros and cons, but also that means that the level of authentication that is required for you to log in or for you to view or read is not necessary as it would be for Facebook. I mean, I'm sure sometimes someone may have sent you a link for something on Facebook and it
Yeah,
says, login required.
it's a login. Okay, so you said the barrier to entry is low, so it's still attractive.
Yeah, it's secure. It's
Okay.
still secure, but it's the authentication isn't necessary for you to be able to reach out. To put it in simpler terms, let's
Yeah.
say you were to be in a group. You had mentioned like the Aqua group or any group
Yeah.
on Facebook. That requires authentication. You logging into your account, and then you being a member of that group.
Right.
So that means that unless you are a member of that group, you would not have been privy to the content that there. You can't read it, and it's not really available to anyone outside of the group, right?
Okay.
And similarly, conversations you have with your friends on Facebook or on Instagram or wherever, other people may not be privy to that. Sometimes you may be looking through at a friend's conversation, but there are a few comments that you can't read or you can't
Right.
view, right? You might see the comment
Right.
being there, but you can't access it, right?
Okay.
So those are varying levels of authentication. Forums don't really have that unless, the administrator sets a room to be private, etc. And those things can be done. What it also does, because you don't need to log in to reach those places. It's accessible by Google. So,
Right.
and
That was,
that's a real key point there. Because it's accessible by Google, it means that when you do a search, let's say you're trying to figure out how to hard restart your phone, you
right.
would punch it in Google, and Google more than likely is going to bring up a help forum.
Of course,
Because
yeah.
if it were in a group, you know, if you were if
In
that
Facebook,
comment was in a group on Facebook, Google would not be able to find it. Google doesn't have access to that. Google can probably find a top level page on Facebook. Let's say if a company has a page, but Google can't search and crawl comments on that page, for example, right?
Okay.
And so forums allow that, and the content is there for everyone for a very long time. I mean, I'm sure
Okay.
you've probably seen, you remember somebody posted something on Facebook last week, and you're trying to find it. You know, it's like scroll. I remember somewhere here, I can't remember who posted it. It's tough, but
And
because
Facebook has since removed the it's no longer in chronological order.
correct.
So you can't even say, okay, well, I know it was posted on Wednesday, so I'm going to scroll.
Yeah,
So
good point, because all of this is organic. It's no algorithm. It's not like it's in chronological order. The way it was posted, it's there. It's always there. Anybody can find it. Google can find it. Bing can find it, etc. And so you don't have these lockouts that that social media would have. I mean, we have posts that people posted in 2008, right?
Yeah.
Or before, and it's still there. The thing is, it may have been about Almira or a B14, right? And someone still has a B14, and they did a search on Google, and it shows up. The information didn't change. It's still the same car, you know. Or it could have been, you know, an active topic we see is like building a house in Trinidad, and if you were to go and type in Google building a house in Trinidad, which might be a common search term, that thread comes up. It's about the fifth or sixth result in Google. Those are some of the advantages that forums have that social media really can't take away from it. And that's why sites like Reddit, Ars Technica, a lot of sites still use forums. And a lot of companies, particularly product-based companies or service-based companies, may use a forum in order to, you know, communicate and have users communicate with them. It also is there as an archive of information.
So before we get into that, I'm seeing the comments kind of going a little crazy. So I just want to address those. Guys, if you have questions, please submit them via the question thing or put them in the comments. We'll try to answer them. Stickid09 wants to know, Duane, where my money?
STI Kid 09.
STI Kid 09. All right, okay. So you can tell I'm not a car guy. The Phoenix Pro is saying they put back in the recent feature. I'm not sure what he's referring to.
Yeah,
and
see,
Garage Fresh is
talking about how much times I say I'm always conscious of that.
Garage Fresh he says also the Trini Tuner Susu is awesome. So we're not gonna get into that before before police kick down the door. Alain 16 is saying Trini Tuner Showcase forums are still there from 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, it is. That's something we should start back to. You know, that we kind of felt. So what we used to do was kind of feature cars that were you know, well known within the automotive enthusiast scene. And we kind of laxed off on that a little bit, but it's always something that, you know, we want to revisit at some point in time.
So, okay. I mean, I'm a subscriber. I've used Trini Tuner for years to do exactly what you're talking about. You know, like, I want to find out about building a house and stuff like that. Stuff like that is important, and you get that sort of community. You get that all that archive of data I think you touched on something that's very important, especially for brands that have a product or technical service that, I mean, just a regular product. We're not really talking about FMCG goods, but we're talking more along the lines of, I don't know, I sell computers, let's say, for
Yeah.
example, and I'm answering questions on a daily basis because everybody can relate to this. Every company has a list of questions that they get asked with regularity, whether they put the information in the post or not. They get it asked. Now,
Yeah, same question over and over
yeah,
and over again.
and I think the brilliance that you're, when I say brilliance, the great thing about forums is that, as you said, as you've been talking about, the permanence, it exists there. That answer, while it may change over time, that answer is going to be there for the people who search for it. So I know that we talked about, very recently, the biggest forums, I think, outside of things like Trini Tuna and stuff that are very niche specific, are help forums.
Yeah. Then
would you?
there's like Reddit.
Right. So Reddit, I think Reddit lives in a very special niche
Yeah,
in the internet.
it's kind of a forum. It's kind of different things.
Yeah. But at the same
Technica
time,
has a huge forum. They actually use the same platform we use, PHP BB.
okay. Okay.
But their genre is it's very techy. So yeah, I mean, it depends on the users, the interest, and what you're trying to do. Let's say, for example, in fact, there are a lot of programming stuff that I might look at,
Right.
platforms that you might use, and on their website, they have forums to help users.
Right.
Users can get help. And as you say, when it's posted, it might be the same question someone might have asked all the time. But
Right.
I see somebody say, "You look like Dan Blizzarian."
I will take the money with none of the lawsuits. Thank you very much.
Yeah, for real. So
So actually, I have one question that I think is going to take you a little bit to answer. So I want to get to it. So say a company wants to start their forum. They've looked at this and they said, you know what? We have enough technical questions every day, every week, every month that it's worth putting these things online so that people can answer it, so that we don't have to answer the phone every day. So that people will say, hey, we have a help forum. Because that's something that, surprisingly, if you look at, I mean, let's not call any names, but the 2 or 3 major ISP or phone service providers,
right,
their customer service people probably answer 1,000 of the same question every day.
Yeah.
But it's never put in a forum that, when I forum literally, that is searchable. That you can say, I'm getting in trouble with this. Maybe it's a phone, maybe it's a service.
We get a lot of that traffic. We have threads on the forum that talk about, is what's going on with Digicel, what's going on with Amplia. There's a thread, and on our side, it's okay for people to say, what problems they have and someone helping them. But in terms of the ISP, it might probably be better for them to have a help desk, a chat where you click and you type in a question, it searches a database and spits out an answer. That may be more useful for them than a forum, because with the forum, remember, you still need to engage with the user. While it might be a repository of information, at the end of the day, it depends on what it is you're really trying to do. If, for example, they were offering a particular service, and that service is something that users had to be back and forth with them all the time, then a forum might probably make sense, because the issues and the situations might be different for each person, right? But when it comes to the same question and the same answer, then, more than likely just publishing it with a FAQ might probably work better. But the important thing is if they were to publish an FAQ, that would be searchable and found by Google. If they
Right.
were to do a help desk chat, that won't be. You know,
Right.
so they have to look at it and decide what is really the best way to do that.
So, all right. So, I mean, that is a good. I think that's a good point. Where, you know, if you're listening to this and you're a brand and you have a product that requires or that you have a fairly technical product or service, you know, FAQs are great. They're very searchable. You know, but if you really want to take that step to the next level and actually have a forum, let's assume that you've listened to Duane here and you've made a decision that yes, you know what, we have the FAQ, we have the help desk, but we really think a forum is going to be good because we have a community. It's not just troubleshooting this thing. It's a community of people who have the same shared experience and who want to share other parts of their life. Where would you say, if you would tell them, all right, if you want to start a forum, you need this, you need this, you need this, you need this. What's that grocery list look like?
So, as with anything, you know,
Right.
It's Simon Sinek that was talking about the why, right?
Okay.
Everything.
I will. Sorry, I just want to cut you. I did not expect at all to hear Simon Sinek's name in any of my thing, and I love that talk that you talk. I don't know if I know he wrote a book, but I watched the TED talk, and that is fantastic.
Oh,
So
yeah. I mean, so a lot of his talks, I mean, you can pick and choose from it, but a lot of his talks make sense, particularly for where we are, and so many businesses doing a lot of the same things. So, you know, it's very competitive environments, and you want to make sure that you're doing things for the right reason. And more times than likely, when you do things for the why and not for the how, you end up being successful because people gravitate towards it. They use the item or they use your product or they use your service because it was developed based on why they would need it, right? Or why it is necessary, right?
Okay.
So, for example, you know, we're looking at users and why they would use a forum. So a lot of times, or why would a site want a forum? So you talked about community. Community is definitely one of the top things that we can look at. In building a community, it's no easy task. I mean,
of course.
Anybody with a Facebook page or Instagram feed would say, you know, building that audience is difficult. Yes, you can get followers, but keeping them interactive all the time is where, you know, the real value comes in. Not just for you as the page owner, but for them. They keep coming back because it's valuable to them.
So just to want to add to that, Quarter Portion is in the comments saying that she remembers Trini Tuna used to have tuna limes where you got to meet people in real life that you spoke to all the time. Do you think that's one of the things that helped build and really cement tuna as a
Absolutely. I mean, we've had you know, users in that community. We used to have like a doubles lime every Thursday, I think it was, and the users did that. We didn't organize that. We actually found out about it.
So it wasn't organized.
No, we found out about it afterwards that, you know, hey, they have a tuna doubles lime, but it's the users on the forum that congregated together and decided, you know, they would go online. And a lot, I mean, I would look at groups of friends on Facebook that I know I met through the forums, and there are pockets of them that met on the forums and still lime with each other all the time, right? You know, there are some marriages. I know some couples that met through, maybe not on the forum itself, but met through connections on the forums. You know, they were both users, and then, you know, some of them turned out good, some of them turned out bad. You know, so
guys, let me Guys, do not take this as an invitation to use tuna as Tinder.
No, it's not. It's not. But you know, so we have over the years, you know, users in the community have come up with their own terms, you know, their own phrases, things like that. It has really built out that community, and that is not something that can happen really overnight. It is not something that, you know, I mean, even if you were to try to start another forum now, it would be difficult, as you said, particularly in this time of social media. I don't know if I lost you there. Did I lose you
No,
there?
yeah, yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yeah. So you know, that community is something that that has really grown and has built relationships over time. You know, people are still friends. Like, you know, users came up with terms like if a user is I guess misbehaving on the forum, a moderator might put them in a little timeout. And users came up with this term that's called Bantanamo Bay, right? You know, we have different terms that people come up with.
So as you're talking about terms, Escorio is saying that is the same is true of Twitter's hashtag. Apparently that was is an organically generated habit by users, and they incorporated that into a feature. I didn't even know that. Yes. I thought hashtags were a actual thing by Twitter.
Yeah, so you know, it comes back to the why. When you see users requesting a certain feature, or they want to use what you have, maybe not as you had intended, at some point you need to give some leeway to that and let it grow organically and evolve in the way that users see the best way to use it. So the hashtags are a great example of that. You know, so yeah, it's usually when you try to keep a hard and fast, you know, users may reject it in a certain way, but being a little fluid also helps. You know, so we try to be as fluid as possible. You know, let me see if I can switch here. So like, you know, on the forum we were just talking about that building a house in Trinidad thing, and you can see that
picture of Gary Griffith and police-rated matters in Trinidad.
Yeah. It has 150,000 views. Our coronavirus thing crossed a million views. Now, the thing is, when we look at views, these are actually people that clicked into the topic. So if you're looking at it here, it doesn't register a view. You'd have to click it to view it. And then, you know, we have the comments. They talk about Bitcoin. They talk about, well, US elections right now, jail for littering. And there's your post there that you made today. Right, has 20 comments.
A shameless plug there.
Yeah. Nothing is wrong with that. Actually, let me see, because I know some of the users here wanted some shout outs, you know. So let me see. Someone said Facebook is not a source of information unless your information is minding other people's business. So Vex Dog said, you know, he'd like to speak to the manager about getting a raise because next year would be his 20th anniversary of trolling on Tuna.
Wow, okay.
So I replied and said, I'll give a 20% raise to everyone. I guess 20% of nothing is. So Max Power, who else? Major Tom is always, and AD. There's another user. They're always bringing everybody back to reality with facts. Zoom Raider is one of the users these days that, you know, always making everything political, but
everybody's getting a shout out tonight.
Yeah. We have a lot of them. You know, so the users make use of the forum in the way that they want to. Like you were talking about how businesses could
Mm-hmm.
use this. For example, we have power sellers. We have people who would use the forums to generate sales. And there's
Yeah.
one guy. Well, his name on the forum is Nervewrecker, but he owns a company that does AC installations for
Okay.
commercial and residential, and he participates in a thread on the Old Talk forum where they talk about
Okay.
what's the best AC units, what brand is good, what to look for are inverter units.
Right.
Do inverter units make sense considering the cost of electricity in Trinidad, things like
Yeah.
that. What
Do,
works in
do they
our weather.
do they, by the way? Because I just installed one and I was hoping I'd make my money.
I don't. You could probably check that thread,
Okay, I'll check it out. Check it out.
but I think electricity here is fairly reasonable. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long it'll take to make it back. But the point is that this is a set of information from users and answers from people with experience in that field. So
Right.
an AC company could definitely get into things like, having a forum on their site where people can find out about AC units, etc. Of course,
This
it would have to
brand,
happen, at scale for it to make sense. But the great thing is everything users post in that forum is now searchable on Google. So,
Right.
for example, that same building a house in Trinidad, I searched building a house in Trinidad, and yeah,
Duane,
that trend is right there.
let me just say that you've stepped it up for all my other guests because nobody's ever brought slides with them, so or web pages. So
Right.
kudos to you. I have one question because I know we're over the 30-minute mark and that's fine, but
Sure.
I think this is a bit of a rough one. Do you think the era of Trini Tuna level forums is over? Because I ask you this because we talked about brand forums, and brand forums totally make sense because of specific products and stuff like that. But Trini Tuna is an anomaly. It's,
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
do you think that, if someone wanted to come out with another, I don't know, the Gardeners Forum or something like that,
Yeah.
that was niche but then evolved into something bigger, do you think that era is over, or is it really just having to hit that right niche at the right time?
It may not be necessarily a right time thing, but it is trying the best way to reach the audience and providing a service for them that they find invaluable. Again, coming back to that why.
Right.
So, you mentioned a gardening forum. That could be a very useful thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, yes, there's social media. And yes, it's very easy to go and create a page or create a group and have people join in because they're there already. It's easy to do. But take the example of a company. Should a company have a website? I know Ryan Alton is always on your live. And Ryan is a web developer, a fantastic web developer. He does some of the development on Trinity, And
Ryan, he wants a discount for that plug, eh?
That would have to be nearly free. Ryan his prices are great, right?
Okay.
But what I'm getting at is that companies often ask, do we need a website? We just have a Facebook page. That's all we need. We have a Facebook page. But a lot of times Facebook would change their terms of service. They change the way they do things. It completely throws you off. It's not your own property.
It's not your own platform,
Yeah, it's not your own property. You can't do with it as you please. And so while it's a great way to reach people on that platform, at the end of the day, you need your own space. On that space, you can create your own community. And that's where adding a forum to your site would help. And so, a lot of times you would see, you might think, okay, there's no space for growth here. But when you have a company like Apple, that a major part of their help section are forums, it's not a dead technology. PHPBB, the platform we use, they just upgraded again this year with new technology from platforms like Symfony, you know, the latest HTML, the latest
Okay.
PHP, etc. So these are not dead in the water
Okay.
technologies. They may look a little dated compared to what you might see on
Because social media is all
you know, through
flashy
an
and
app.
image
Yeah.
based. Yeah.
Like, for example, that same thing. Yes, our website is responsive. You can open it on a phone and it's very readable. It reformats itself for the phone very nicely. But in 2012, we said, you know, we need an app. Everybody's
Right.
going apps. So
Yeah.
we have the TriniTune app. It's free. It's available on the App Store, Google Play Store, etc.
Guys, go download it right after this.
Yeah, and what we decided to do there was, instead of just copying exactly what's on the website, blogs, everything, the app is really just a quicker way of accessing the forums. So you have
Okay.
something to sell, you just whip out your phone, you take a photo, you post it, you know, access to the camera roll, you don't have to copy it to a computer and things like that.
Yeah.
And those are things that, you know, again, we see what users want, and we will try to adapt to that. So again, that's our own app and our own website. Yes, we have
Right.
a Facebook page. I think we have about 34,000 followers there. But I mean, we don't really use social media to drive traffic to the site. But we know that social media now and this time is an important thing. Who
It's
knows what
required
it will
almost.
be? Yeah,
Yeah.
who knows what will be in the next 10 or 20 years. But the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is, because we've kept our own, I mean, imagine if instead of we doing our website and we doing our own forum, we had started up on MySpace. You know, what would have happened
Correct.
then, right?
Correct.
So it's
Correct.
important to have your own property. It's important for a company to have their own website, have their own space. They can do what they want there, but they have to build it out and make sure that it's a resource for their customers, potential
Yeah.
customers. Give them a space to talk. User-created content is always a great thing.
Yeah.
Content is king, so the more content you have on your website, if users are creating that, it means that Google is going to find you a whole lot easier. It makes your search engine optimization that much better.
Okay. So, Duane, I thank you so much for your time. I mean,
No
I
problem.
don't mean to be so abrupt. We are well
Way
over
over time. Yes, I know that.
our time. But I just want to finish with a recap, guys. I think Duane hit his nail on the head. You know, forums are important. They are valuable in that you own the resource. They're also searchable, so that you have no problems. You know, if somebody has a technical question, the answer will still be there instead of lost in some Facebook thread or hidden away in a help chat. But you start with why. You know, don't just you know, get a forum for getting a forum's sake. You know, why are you doing it? And I think that should motivate everything that you do. Why are we doing this? And that everything else will fall into place. Duane, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. How would they get in touch with you? Because I know that you touched on a good few things where, you know, you don't necessarily need to build your own forum. You can become a power seller on TriniTuner, advertise on TriniTuner, or contribute to a thread that is dealing with exactly what you do. You know, how do they get in touch with you to say, okay, Duane, I want to become a power seller, or I want, or Imprint Graphics wants a drive in the Evo, you know? So how would people reach out to you to do business? Because if they're not going to build their forum, they might as well get on yours and talk to people who are there.
Sure. Well, I mean, we could also talk about how they can put a forum on their site, because I mean, it's not a difficult thing to do, you know, and start building out your own community. You have to start somewhere. But
Yeah.
Reaching out to us, you can go to the website trinituner.com, click the contact us button. You can email me, Duane, Duane at trinituner.com, info at trinituner.com. Hit us up on our Facebook page, our Instagram. Or you can WhatsApp us on 68tuner. That's 68tuner. And
somebody type that in the comments for me so that we can save it.
Right. So yeah, I mean, there are a number of ways to reach out. Hit us up. I really don't mind helping. I am a big advocate for anything digital. big advocate for anything that, e-business, getting your stuff online, things like that. So I'm willing to help. Just give me a holler.
Perfect. Okay, Duane, thank you so much. It's been 45 minutes of amazing information. I'm sure we'll be in touch soon. Until then, have a good
No
night.
problem. All
All
right.
right,
Thanks
guys.
for having me. It was great.
Thank you. One last thing. I always forget to do this. If you like the video, head on over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us here on Trini Tuna on on
You
Digital
could
for
do that
Everyone.
too. But Digital for Everyone has been a fantastic podcast. I really, really love what you're doing.
Thank you
It's
so much.
great for the industry. The industry definitely needs something like this. It has needed it for a long time. So, I'm really, really glad to see what you're doing, Robert.
Thank you so much, man. All right. Until next week, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Take care.
You too.